Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Coffee Review. It is a beautifully sunny 17th of September, and Michael and I are here as usual to talk about Bluebeam and all sorts of other things today. But first, how's it going today, Michael?
It's going good. Excited to talk about our exhibit kind of conversation. We'll probably talk a little bit about that and then move into some other things if anyone has any questions. I don't think there's anything new on the horizon soon, right? From a licensing perspective, from Bluebeam, we recapped last week about the workflows on what we learned at Bluebeam Live. I was thinking AU because just I have my video to record today. But anyways, um, also I think we should talk about GoCanvas because we talked about it last week, and then I was able to schedule us a demo last Friday. What are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, thank you for taking the time and the GoCanvas team to meet with us and show off what they've got. And I was blown away, absolutely blown away. There are some other workflows that we have seen and dealt with, and especially, in my career, the past 10, 12 years, where people are wanting something like this, but I've never seen it so easy. Like the GoCanvas interface, if you are an inspector or if you're collecting field data, if you're doing anything where you might have a worker on their phone saying, hey, this is in good condition, this needs repair, this needs, this is closed, whatever, or any sort of scenario you want because you create your own, you can do that. And it's super easy. The way that they configured it, the way that it looked, it just felt polished. And it's something that we're going to be able to sell and support and play with here real soon, as part of that um, agreement between Nemetschek and Bluebeam and the GoCanvas team. Like they're all in and they're moving pretty quick on this. And that team that we met with is very professional and very enthusiastic and passionate about their product. Some of the guys we talked to have been there for a while. We've already teased them and told them, or not teased it, but invited them to come join us to show it all off to you. But it's really cool, and I'm excited. I think especially with some of the stuff that they were talking about with geolocation and thinking about some of the workflows that we've talked about in Bluebeam and sessions over the years. This is going to enhance a lot of that, and it's going to be really cool to see. And it's not that expensive for what you
Yeah,
get.
and I agree. It'll be interesting to see how they integrate some of the capabilities into cloud. But holistically, you can look at the solution from plugging into a database that you have, or there's a dashboard that you create to look at analytics of data. And then I thought it was really cool that you were able to customize your export of data too. So you customize the form and how it feels and looks and questionnaire on your phone, well, the phone device of your folks, right? And you can schedule things to like for people to go and inspect on certain sites. The other thing is they can geolocate a position if you're going to a site location, and that form will already be brought up. And then there's a bunch of other stuff that you can do, like in the background, where some of the items, like the geolocation, may not show for the individual user, but when they're there, it's actually picking up that location so that you know that they were on site inspecting something. There's signatures in there, and then you can take all of that data and customize it. Well, first off, you're customizing it for the individual user, like we just talked about, but you can also customize the export of that data as well. That was really cool because I think that's one thing that Bluebeam can even work on that people have asked for is exporting out the metadata on a PDF in Bluebeam. We're talking about Bluebeam right now, and how you can customize that PDF, right? Export information. That's what you can truly do in GoCanvas is plug and play where you want those form fields that were filled out to go onto a PDF. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and that sort of ties in today's topic of making exhibits, right? We're going to create an 8.5 by 11 or 11 by 17 exhibit of something. We'll sort of freestyle it as we go. But with GoCanvas, you can completely configure that company logo, map in the corner,
Yep.
today's weather, whatever. And then you can have that so that when you are collecting data, let's say it is a field inspection report for, September 17th, it will go through and you can have that all populated. And what I thought was really cool was how, when they're laying this out on the desktop product, it actually shows you a phone as part of your interface. You can mimic exactly what it's going to look like on the phone for that field worker. Is this too cluttered? Is this enough information? Is this drop down too long? You can see all that on the phone silhouette or template on that program. And then it's really simple just to push that out. But that report that they showed was super impressive. So I think what we'll do is we'll start putting some ideas together of what we think the MCR community would like to see from GoCanvas, and then we'll get them on one of these episodes real soon to show that off, because um, it's going to transform the way some people do work. That's for sure.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I didn't even know you were already currently using it, David. So they're using it to keep time and daily log sheets. Yeah. So they have logs.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great solution for the field, essentially, is what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Company is, I'm not, yeah. So if you're having a non-digital workflow for gathering data from the field folks, right? We're using paper in any type of manner. That's what this is essentially built for. And then also they have another tool called Site Docs, which they didn't show a demo of that, but that's for field safety, collection of data, anything that requires safety on site to be compliant, and even certification tracking in there too. That's what Site Docs is built for those end users on a job site, like targeting more of the GC space. Hey, I have a job site and I need to make sure all of my subs are compliant and also have certifications on site too. So that's where that is. Oh, yeah, Doug's already using Site Docs.
Yeah, well, there we go. Yeah, it's pretty cool, and health and safety is always important, but to have it all organized in one space that's coherent and consistent across all the teams that are on that one site, that's kind of big. And leveraging some of these powers, does tie into what we can do with Bluebeam Revu and some of these cloud offerings. So like there's a little bit of a family thing going on here, and it's kind of cool to see. Certainly filling some voids that previously you had to make them up on your own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the conversations and case studies they've had where a lot of people were using paper workflows and then like going to a site location to get these site docs that they need specific for compliance. Or imagine emailing all of this to somebody and then they had to go through their email, make sure everything is there, and then just everything is at the click of a button from a site configuration from Site Docs, and then also for GoCanvas and data collection back into an office setting. So it's cool stuff.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I think that data consistency and that not having to, did I get emailed that on, was that Tuesday or was that Wednesday? Who'd that email come from? Did I print that out? Did Susie print it out? Like, it's just keep it all in one space. Because sticking digital, some firms are still struggling with it.
Yep.
We talk to architects, engineers, contractors all the time. Like, no, I still need the paper in my hands. I still need the paper, just tactical, put the scale down and mark on it. I still need to do that. Like, do you though? You don't need to, you want to.
I literally, it's funny because that guy I was talking to the other day, who had the older version of Revu, said they like printing them out and redlining, and I'm just like, really? But it's the same thing, right? People still like a piece of paper.
I get it. Having spent many, many years doing the same thing, but like, it's just so easy just to keep it on the computer, because then I don't have to I don't lose it. It's not cluttering up my desk. Like, the pros definitely outweigh the cons, but I think, traditionally the AEC industry has been, you got to give me some time first, and it takes a while.
I'm really interested in like the analytics of data because you can have all the metrics that you need from gathering that information through GoCanvas or plug into a subset solution. So that'll be interesting. I'm more of a data geek, so just gathering data in a more logical manner is going to make things a lot easier. Really want to see where they plug and play what parts into cloud because that's going to be their platform to integrate, right? So just like Autodesk's ACC is where Autodesk is integrating most things. Similarly, fashion cloud will be an integration kind of where things are unlocked and unpacked from an API perspective. So it'll be interesting to see what Bluebeam does, well, what Numacheck does with Bluebeam and GoCanvas, because Numacheck owns both. Like, what are they going to, and how are they going to integrate that into the cloud? So it'll be
Yep.
interesting.
Things we can talk about with them when we have them on here. Maybe
Oh,
maybe
that's
next
true.
month.
Yeah.
But before we get into our topic for today, speaking of next month, Michael and I will both be at Autodesk University in San Diego about a month from now. So if you're going to be in
On the
the area,
15th.
come find us at the ATG booth. Free high fives and handshakes, and we will hope to see some of you there. I know there's a lot of crossover between Bluebeam users and Autodesk users, and hopefully there's crossover with the MCR community as well.
I asked a lot of people when I was at the live event, so are you guys going to AU? And most of them said no, that they weren't going to have people there, but apparently there's still probably bad blood between
Yeah.
It's like an old stigma kind of. They have to be upset at each other, I feel like.
Yeah, when I looked it up last time, that Autodesk banned the Bluebeam in 2017 from going, but given how expensive booths are this year, like I'll take your money. You just get a small, crappy location in the corner, you know.
Yeah.
But we'll
Yeah, it's
see.
wild. The price difference. I don't understand. Like there should have been some transparency on that. Why the cost increased so much. Can't
Yeah,
just chalk it up to it being Autodesk. Like, come on. In
I
the
mean,
21st century, transparency is definitely like.
it is a premier conference center in San Diego. You know, I'm sure that space isn't cheap either. But yeah, venue costs could be, but I'm not sad about having going back to San Diego. It's fine.
All right. Without further ado, I guess. Oh, there was David Cutler was asking, and if you're watching on YouTube, I guess this will probably be past the New York event. Bluebeam Live. So yeah, if anyone's going to Bluebeam Live in New York, the Miami one just happened, right? Was that
I
last
believe
week?
so. I believe so.
Yeah.
But yeah, the New York one's in October, so chances are it'll be on YouTube before then.
Yeah. Perfect.
Well, let's fire it up and make some stuff happen.
Yeah. Do you have that old data set that we had?
No.
Okay.
I said we're just gonna make something up.
Okay. Let me look for how did you, because last time you were like event center. Let's see. Well,
Yeah,
we can actually do.
I know what you're talking about.
What is the San Diego one for AU event
San
center
Diego
called?
Convention Center. Yeah, and that's funny because I was actually looking for a map, right? Because I'm starting to see, you know, ATG and other people who are exhibiting there. They're saying, "Oh, come visit us at booth 142 or whatever it is." But
Building map.
I can't find the map of where these are going to be. Like, is our booth next to somebody cool, or you know, because if they got robots and VR and stuff, I'm going to be distracted the whole time.
I'm
That's
gonna.
normal.
They had the robot last time.
Not the Boston Dynamics dogs; those creep me out. But
So here's
Trimble
the.
had them at Esri, and it was funny. I was talking with one of the people from Autodesk because they had the little robot dog with the scanner on top, and they were showing how stable it was. So like they're kind of kicking it, and like subconsciously, you just kicked that dog. but it's not a real dog, obviously. But it was just like, whoa! It kind of shocked me.
This is how easy it is to just go to the internet and look for, where did this download to? Hold on. Why is it default to my OneDrive? I want to, like, download should download directly to downloads, right? But it doesn't. So we'll save that there. Okay. I like to talk through me looking up stuff. So I just went and downloaded this from the interwebs, and it was super easy. I just Googled San Diego Convention Center, because this is where they're having it this year. If you've all never been, this was right next to XCon. XCon wasn't hosted here, but
It was next door.
mm-hmm.
Actually,
It was
that
right
building,
there. Yep.
Yeah, it's a beautiful space. Lots of natural light that comes in, and the classrooms are pretty nice.
There's not a lot of
Um,
places to stay, though. We didn't get anywhere near the convention center in
there's like
relatively closeness. There's
there's
these two, but max
yeah, there's
capacity already.
hotel on both sides, but yeah, that was gone pretty quick. And then there's a couple across the street. So we're a little walk away, but you know what? It's going to be beautiful weather, so who really cares? One of my favorite breakfast joints is like on the way, so I know
Oh,
breakfast is
okay.
included at AU, but still, I might have to make my way over there because their omelets were incredible.
A little slow on the way over.
Yeah,
I mean, they have a ton of Starbucks. Look at this. Great. Starbucks
yeah.
is such a corner on the market. It's ridiculous.
And guess what? They cost more there than they do at the Starbucks across the street. Funny that.
Oh, I believe it. This doesn't look that big. There's exhibit halls. There's a mezzanine level. Does this look like that large of a space? Ground level.
It's if you've been to AU in Vegas, where like you're walking a half hour between classes, at most you're going to be 10 minutes between classes because there's nice escalators and stairs and stuff. But they
But how
can
are
be a
they going to break these halls out for like A through? So are these rooms?
yeah, yeah.
So
And
is
then
there 2 rooms in here? Maybe 3 rooms, I guess.
it could be that like that, and it could also be, um, at least the Esri conference, the main conference hall, the expo center, the big open area, they had those broken out into theaters, which were actually really cool. Um, because that each one could hold 40, 50 people, and it had a projector and stuff. It was a little loud, so if you had a very enthusiastic instructor at the class next to you, you could hear when people are clapping or whatever or interacting. But they were able to get another 12, I think, classrooms inside the expo hall too. And those classes were at a different time.
So that's what
So,
these are right here on ground level.
yeah, yeah, that
This
whole
isn't
exhibit
one
hall.
big room. This is a room. This is a room. This is a room.
No, it's a big, all big, one big room with dividers, so they can open up
Oh,
those dividers.
okay. So these have dividers essentially,
Yeah,
and that's probably what they'll have is maybe divider. This will be one big exhibit hall. Are there
yep,
doors here?
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm guessing that they'll do is they'll block off some of that and then they'll turn the other half of that, because even at the Esri one, they had probably A through F was the exhibit hall and the little theaters, and then G was where you go pick up your badges and stuff, and then they have the speaker
Oh,
rooms and
okay.
stuff. So, but since Esri was twice the size of AU, I'm guessing they're just going to do like A through D for Expo Hall, and then everything else will be split up. I don't know. We'll find out in less than a month.
And these are essentially where they'll probably have classes and maybe
Hmm.
some down here. But
Yep.
AC means that these were different rooms, right? Because I wasn't at the Esri conference, so these were probably 3 rooms, right? Is that what you're saying already? Or is the reason they don't have doors on these to show is probably that they can be configured? They're
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
this size here,
With the
right?
little, remote door type of things where you can move them.
It's
But
probably this.
hmm
So you have one. 2, 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There you go. You're already making an exhibit. Look at that.
So as I'm going through breaking these up, we'll probably want to also um, have, that's not going to work. I'll just move it back. A layout for seating, right? And well, I don't know the scale of this. I probably would want it at a larger scale, but we'll just go through and kind of eyeball this. Is this what we're talking about from an exhibit hall perspective? Is maybe seating and seating requirements. So I typically like to go through and grab this chair, but I don't think it's going to scale appropriately because I don't know what the scale of this building is. Um, so we're just going to keep guessing, right? Jason, what do you think?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I would imagine it's pretty big.
what are we thinking? Like an eighth? No.
Smaller.
Oh, it's not going to like re-go. Yeah, I need to go to like. I think it's even smaller than a 32nd.
Like 64th. Time for custom.
I know, but if you do custom, is it the overall? Like, I guess we'll just have to go from. Because I'm going to have to pick a dimension from here to here.
You
What are
don't
we going to
have
say?
to. You can just tell it.
I know,
Say
but you have to
1
pick a
inch.
distance.
Yeah, so that's where you say,
What is this, like
1.
60 feet? You think that's right?
So we got 2 votes for 1 inch equals 60 feet. So now we're going civil scale. You might be onto something there.
I think, well, I said from here to here. Let me get out of
Okay.
this. I said so the room size of 33 was 60 feet. Do
Hmm.
you maybe agree?
Sure.
David says 60. Yeah. Robert says, yeah, 1 to 60, 1 to 40. Okay. That looks almost kind of correct. And this new feature multiply is going to be awesome. So we can do probably 2 inches to the right is probably going to be no. So it's from the default to center. So let's do 1 foot.
Yeah, if you take that dialog box and move it up a little bit, you have that preview.
Oh yeah. I forgot they do that.
I forget this
now.
trick every time. Yeah. And now when you preview, you can actually get that real time thing.
Oh, it was so you had to unclick out. That's ridiculous. Yeah, that's fine. So copies. So I'm probably gonna want this is how AU was set up last year. I'll probably do 4. At least our hall was. Depending on like if the door is going to be in the center, you can just have 4 rows here, right? And then you do another 4 rows here. But then we can multiply again. So we can do this from a multiply, right click, and then go down. And we'll do 2 feet as well. So go back. Is that enough walking room?
I mean, no.
So we'll go, oops. Go back to right click, multiply. So it was like 2 feet. I did. Maybe we'll do 2 feet 6 inches. Because they like to, they don't make it very easy. Oh, wasn't going down. So right click, multiply, down. 2'6".
There you
That
go.
looks good. Yeah. And then you can make copies. So,
Just fill up
but I
that
can't
room.
scroll out. So we'll just go to maybe that's enough. Oh, man. I guess there's more. This used to be a lot harder because I think the last time we did this, they didn't have the multiply thing. So we were doing like copy paste a lot. So this makes it a lot easier. I'm just going to keep going. Because then I can delete these. Because this is where the podium's going to be. But not the line. I want this. Okay, so that was easy. So then I can come into here. And I'm just going to do a copy paste. And you can typically do like a grouping of these too. Oops.
Matt wants to see 165 chairs.
Oh yeah, that's how many people in are in ours. So well, let's see. Let's count. So we have 4. Um, that's weird that it won't let me like select this specific one here. So we have 4 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Take that back corner spot.
52. So it's 104. That's it. Because 13, 4 times 2, 104. So we're at 104 right here. So that's only 104 seats. So it looks like if we're almost mathing correct,
Yeah.
these aren't the larger exhibit halls, maybe?
No, that's the upper level. So it's not
I mean, these aren't
broken
the
out the
larger
same way.
rooms. Yeah.
No. But that's a standard AU class, around 100 people.
100 people? Yeah. They probably have it where I would say some of these are probably so that's 2 classes, but that's the same size as this. I would assume that 30 probably has 1, 2, 3, which are larger because they probably broke them all up in threes, right? I would assume probably something like this for the larger classes because let's check that out because now I could copy this over and we could bring it over here because they'll do something like this.
If you made each room a space, then you can get a count by chairs by room.
Oh, so let's do that.
David with the big brain this morning. I like
So
it.
this will be 30A. Let's see. I'm going to do by space. Oh, but the 30A has 156.
Hmm.
That was a lot easier than counting.
Yeah. Doing math for no reason there. Spaces to the rescue.
So they would probably add another row. And this is just like an estimate because we don't truly know the size. I would probably, if I was doing an exhibit hall, I'd probably request an at a specific scale or just know the distance of that room and how accurate this is compared. But I mean, this is a great rough sketch, right? I think from that perspective. So
Yeah, we'll have to go verify next month and go peek into 30A and see how many people are actually in there.
yeah, I wonder. Let's see what room. we're in. So this is A through D ballrooms. So this is probably one of the larger ones. I would assume they will break those up into 4, not 3. And this will probably have more. So let's see.
Hmm.
If I hold shift here, they'll probably do 2. You think they'll just split this in half? The ballroom?
I don't know. I went to one session in that room, and
Was it the full ballroom?
that's what I'm trying to picture. It was pretty big. It was probably easily 250, 300 people in there.
So it's probably just in half. What, you think they'll have a door here and then
Yeah, the door will be at the front or the back, and well,
typically
probably the back. Yeah, so you can
yeah,
sneak in and out.
they'll do something like this. We'll have like then a double row of seats here.
Or group. You could group those together too.
Yeah, it'll be like that.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's close enough.
Yeah, I was gonna try to get better, but yeah.
Someone came in and bumped them all. It's got to add some realism to this whole thing. I didn't know if they had the fancy chairs that lock together on the side.
Yeah. They didn't. I don't know if they did last year. See, so one of the main things I would love is if they did, like, I could re-justify a point of origin on some of these. So we'll do a walkway like this. I don't know what exhibit rules they have from a perspective of making sure at what amount of chairs is there even a rule from a safety perspective? At what amount of chairs do you have to have um, you know, an aisle?
Yeah, yeah. That's a fair question. Yeah, you could totally use this for a wedding seating chart, right? You could create a chair block with groom's family and bride's family, and then just have them be differentiated.
Yeah, if you know anyone that's having weddings coming up. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
play matchmaker and put them together.
I would almost assume they'd probably want a couple rooms right here
Yeah.
because that's a lot. So, if we did a space, that's a lot more than I thought we were going to fit in here. So, this is ballroom. So, this is going to be 20 do A. Let's see how many that is by itself. 400. Dang, that's a lot. So, yeah, you're right. You said
Yeah,
there's about 400 people, right?
yeah, 300 or 400. So yeah, add a couple more rows in there, and you're probably down to 350 or so, and that would make sense for some of those bigger classes.
Yeah, because even if I were to a there's two, you could break it up into even. They probably have a certain. No, they'd probably do 3 rooms. These would be those larger
Hmm.
AU rooms. All right, so I think this is about the same size here. We can just do G to see if it's any different. Yeah, I think this is even smaller. Nope, nope, same size. Cool. So those will be
Gotcha.
broken up similarly. Now, this one is probably where they're going to have the keynotes, right? Would you say right here?
No, those will probably no, because that's on the second floor. They'll do the keynote like on the bottom floor on part of that exhibit hall.
You're saying down here?
Yeah, we'll take like G and H and make that the big room. I think that's what they did for the ESRI conference that fit everybody.
Where's
Yeah,
the elevators? Like,
there's escalators up
oh,
front.
it's right here.
Yeah,
No, that's a front
or
drive.
in the sort of yellow part. There's these big old escalators, and there's a staircase. But
Mm,
There are elevators there. You can see that orange highlight
yeah.
as the escalator symbol.
Oh, so this must be where they are. There it is. Yeah. So there's just one. The bottom, but there's two to go to the mezzanine level, probably.
Maybe.
Oh, and there's rooms here.
Yeah.
Ooh, that these are small. Let's see. Let's take about this many.
And I don't remember if those were used for
Even
classes.
rooms?
Those would be good for like the speaker prep rooms,
Yes. Yeah, they have the speaker, like you can check your AVA system, um, check
Have a
your
snack,
computer. Yeah, have a snack.
lint rollers for your shirts and stuff. I
Yeah.
wonder if they're going to be doing the certification exams again this year.
I don't
Did they do
know.
that last year?
I don't remember. They had to have, because I think if I remember correctly, they had Matt and I show like ACI stuff for like certifications and stuff on our slides. So,
Cool.
okay, so let's check this one out. What do these look like? Even though the probably will be speaker ready rooms, is what they call them. Do 19, and we'll look and see if they wanted to. We can go by space. 19 has 72.
That's a good sized class.
Yeah. And these would be split right down the middle. So I'll just do this. Oh, really?
Yeah,
No
snap to
middle
markup.
point?
You do not have your snaps on? Snap to content? Or snap to markup? There you go. Now it should,
I was
there it
going to
should be.
say.
Done did you dirty.
Yep. I think these are the same size as before. Well, hey, I keep copying and pasting, but if you all are aware, there should be a group, right?
You didn't make the group.
But when you do multiply, does it not create them as a, like if I go copy and then I go paste, did not create a recent tool of them? No?
No. Interesting.
Well, you should probably know how many are in this group, but it's fine. Yeah, so these are the same size.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're a little bit wider, so you probably have an extra row. This is probably, well, no, because 30AE, 30A only had 156. So this one will probably be, because Matt was wondering if he's still here, we'll be in probably one of these. These chairs are probably better. The chairs that they have are probably a little bit better organized and laid out. So I would assume this is the 165 limits of rooms.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say with fair certainty that the Autodesk University planners are not using Bluebeam for their exhibits for their room, but I wonder what they do use.
I wonder how do people use, or what do people use for planning like this?
I'm guessing it's event center themselves. They just say, hey, make me these many rooms, and they have
They
their own stuff because their people are well trained to know exactly. Boom, oh, that room gets 42 chairs, and boom, 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 boom. They have it down to a science.
Yeah.
These people that work in those event centers are absolutely skilled craftsmen and women. They have that running real smooth.
Yeah, I would assume they have classes that are probably limited to 100, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
And these are probably those. Oh my gosh. These ones are probably the ones that are 100. And I should just click the group, how much easier this is. These are probably the ones that are at 100.
Yeah.
And then they're probably going to break up the 30s for these larger ones to 3 rooms. I would assume they have some kind of like divider separation specifically for it, right?
I would imagine so. But now
Okay.
I'm really excited to go see if your prophecies are going to be true or not.
Hey, we should save this out as, and you know what's going to be super cool while we're there is we can actually start. This will be like a whole series, only a
Okay.
two-part series.
Okay.
We'll mark this up while we're in sessions at the event.
Yeah, because we'll be able to put this up on cloud and do it from our phones.
Yeah, and Matt and I will be teaching, so we can just bring this from there for provide any elevated platforms and speakers. Those are scary. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Autodesk will love that. Yeah, geolocating.
So I'll save this to my desktop. That's what I need to do. Okay. So with that, what we're going to do is add it into a session, and we're going to create it as AU 2024. Right?
open
Yeah.
files. Yeah.
And then save as, never expires. We'll add Jason and Matt to this. Again, because it'll be on your phone. So Bluebeam Cloud, you can get access to your markups. And hopefully by then, which is pretty far away, I mean, not that far away, because if we all remember, you're going to now have not, at least hopefully the markups tool sets go over. But in the future, everything will be on your phone. Anything that the desktop application can do in sessions, you'll be able to do on your phone. That is their goal.
Yeah. Interesting. And we could just can't we just use the chat and like I could circle what room I'm in and you could
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll have the geolocating, but it would be cool.
Ooh. I don't know why I had both, but whatever. But I said okay. I'm gonna do this over here because for some reason it had phone numbers and stuff. I'm thinking, yeah, that's not yours, if I remember correctly, yours or Matt's, but I don't want people calling your work phone from YouTube.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It said add, so did it like address books doesn't let you click them over for some reason. So okay, so I'll type these out. Perfect. So now we'll have those. And by the way, back in the day, which doesn't seem that long ago, but you used to not even be able to see who you invited. You just kind of hoped it was like in settings buried in here. Um, but yeah, so joined, not joined yet. And then you also have your permission settings. What can people do within those settings? And then we're restricting attendees so no one else can join and mess it up. But maybe if you're going to AU, we'll invite you. So it'll be cool to have this in a session, and I'll open up the session doc because then we'll be able to play with this while we're out there in the event hall. We can see maybe we can start creating our own markups and live taking photos of things. This will be cool. So this will be a two-part series for sure.
Yeah, we'll have to maybe get up real early that Tuesday and see what we can do.
Well, we'll be in the exhibit hall, so we can just like lay out cool, like where were people, where
Yeah.
are people, and just I don't know, just draw a box or something, and then attach a photo to it for where people were at. So yeah, be cool. Well, with that, going back into here, where else? So we're saying this will probably be where the main stage is. So let's predict this main stage here. They usually have a pretty, we'll do sketch to scale because if we all remember, you can sketch to scale. What is the typical size of a stage that they usually have? I think it's like 100 feet, 50 feet, 75 feet, about like 20.
Yeah, that's probably no. It's bigger than that.
You think it's 100 foot by
Oh, I'm gonna say 200 foot.
200?
These are big.
Okay, so you think the stage is going to be 200 feet to walk all the way across the main stage? It's 2 football fields. Okay, so we have 200 feet by what? Okay, Jason's busy talking about his sword, obviously.
Yeah. I
Not by
mean,
50.
set me up.
Who
Yeah, like
set
two
you
thirds
up?
of a football field.
It's probably going to be 50 by 25. We'll do 200 by 25. So you think the main stage is going to be this whole thing here? It'll be this whole.
I think it's that big. How many bananas is that though? That's a fine question. I mean, is it too many bananas?
Wait, I thought a
How
football
many?
field is a football field 100 feet or 150 feet?
100 yards.
100 yards. Oh, that's where I got confused. Okay. Everyone's typing. They're probably concerned that I got that wrong, but
No,
that's fine.
I'm the San Diego Convention Center features 615,000 square feet of exhibit space. Oh, capacity charts. Here we go.
So you
Oh,
just Googled it and it showed?
it's in metric. Oh no. I found a. Okay. Okay. Oh man. I gotta find an imperial version of this.
You have to explain it because we're all here in the dark listening to
Yeah,
you and
yeah. Let me find imperial because otherwise it's gonna get real weird if I'm gonna have to do. There we go. Here
yeah,
we go. Okay. I'll share. See.
okay.
See. So capacity charts. Here's this beautiful exhibits that they made. So now we can.
So those rooms
Here I
are
am.
broken up. Look at.
Yeah, here I am showing a PDF in a web browser, which is a big no-no, right? Cannot stand alone. Oh, codependent. Nice.
Oh,
So
look
yeah,
at
there's
that.
all these little rooms. So there's the 33A, which you did, right? You did
Yep.
33A.
I did 3 splits of those, but the other
But
ones I did
let's
two
go
splits.
down. 33A, 33A, 33A.
Over on the right, I just saw it. Yep, 33. Oh,
So
it's right there.
28 feet 6 inches by 57 feet 6 inches. So 1,600 square feet. So you should measure yours. And classroom setting, 108 people. You're pretty close.
I got 104,
Yeah. Okay.
and
So
that
what's
was
your square footage?
estimating.
What was your square footage? I'll stop sharing.
Okay, yeah, you tell me what the square footage is. Well, let me draw a space and we'll do square footage. Man,
Yeah. So you share yours again, and
I was
your
right
space
on
should
the
have the
money.
area. Yeah, you're
Well, I
pretty
haven't
darn
created a
close.
space yet.
Oh, for that one.
Oh, well, we're in a session, so now I can't create. So I'll probably delete the PDF. We'll go back into here. Um, and I'll create a space. So this one will be from here. We'll go to the other side of the 33. What was it? 33A?
Yeah.
Small a, big A. So let's see if the square feet is. So properties, create an area measurement. I did 840 square feet. What did
Oh,
you get?
oh, it was way bigger than that. It was 33A is 1686.
Dang. So the scale is off, but we had the same. They had the correct amount of seats.
Yeah, so you're almost
Half.
Twice. Yeah.
So what, 120 feet, you think?
Uh,
You think this is 120 feet from here to here?
oh, I'm trying to cheat and look at the thing. Oh, yeah. Dimensions is 28 foot 6 by 57 foot 6.
So it's 28, you're saying. So 28. But this room's split in threes. So there's no way that this is it.
Well, it's because your scale's off.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So
saying. So
you
what do
would
we
need to
think the scale
calibrate.
is?
You calibrate that
Okay. Yeah.
from there to there, and then we tell it it's 28 feet 6 inches.
How are we going to do this by 3 dividers? Is there a double divider one? So A, B. So let's just do this. Well, what's the 32?
32.
32A is how far?
32A is 29 feet 8 inches by 57.6. So it looks like
So it's
57.6.
29.
Just calibrate off the long side because they're all 57.6.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. So just calibrate from here down is what?
57.6.
57 feet 6 inches.
Correct.
Great. Now I have to go back and replace my chairs.
David says he can calibrate that space in 3 clicks.
Oh, okay. Nice, David. Whoa, the chairs are smaller, that's for sure. So if I go back and look at this chair, man, these. Copy this one. Oh, it may not let me. After I repaste it, it'll probably scale back. So this is that's okay. So that's the original chair. So we were, yeah, about almost double, I would say, right? Okay. I'm going to fix this just because that's just who I am, but I'm not going to fix it all through in here. I'll just do the one row and then I'll come back and change it. I think we did 2 foot 6 inches, but that may be changing because the scale. Yeah, 6 inches is too much. We'll just do 2 feet. Just want to make sure that's right. Yeah. Okay. So I'll come back and change this all. Well, at least now we know. And then coming back into here, we're saying the exhibit hall rectangle was 200 feet by, I think I did, so 200 feet by 25 looked almost right. That will be the stage, right?
Yeah.
Because this capacity from here, shift here, it's going to be main hall. So I'll get this all set up for all of us, and then I'll re-update that PDF in that session. And then we'll be able to actually take this to the conference because we'll be on our phones, and it'll be preset with the scale. And some of us will have the downloadable tool set. If not, we'll have to make sure everyone adds it in there so you can start adding some of this layouts of what we think this will look like. But I'm definitely interested. So you were saying seating for 33A was how many? 108, you said, right?
33A was 108 in classroom mode.
Where is 165? Which classrooms have 165?
For a classroom, I mean, we're going, I see 156, 155, 2000. Holy cow. Seeing anything with 160, but I think the closest we're going to get is 156, which would be classroom or ballroom 8.
Ballroom 8.
Ballroom 8. That's 160.
Let's see a ballroom 8 here. Oh, are these the ballrooms? Yeah. So that's what this is.
Yeah, yeah. So ballroom 8 is 59 feet 4 inches by 59 feet 5 inches, almost square.
Almost square. So from here to here.
Holds 156 people in classroom mode and 160 people in banquet mode.
Yeah. Cool. That'll be interesting. Matt's probably looking. He's like one of the larger rooms.
Yeah. Do you know what room you're going to be in yet?
I think it's in there, but we have 165 cap on ours. They won't let any more people sign up. So I'm assuming it's going to be one of these larger ones versus one of these ones. If the cap if the cap of them are mostly 104.
That's pretty cool.
Or 108, I guess you were saying. Which is probably going to be a little bit less. So they're probably going to remove the 8 because, well, no, they probably account for a classroom setup, so like a projector and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exhibit hall A, B, and C together has a classroom capacity of 16,936 people. So
16,000.
Yeah.
A, B, and C.
I wasn't too far off. Exhibit hall A is 180 feet by 299 feet.
299, you said?
Yeah. That's massive.
So this says 360.
Obviously not to scale. But yeah, it's a football field in a room. Yeah, it's a big magical place. But I also think it's really cool that I can just Google this and find the information. It just sort of speaks to the professionalism of this location. Again, probably
Of
why
the
it costs
exhibit
so
hall.
much.
Yeah. Well, aren't they redoing the Yishin, right, exhibit?
Who knows?
I thought they were. It won't let me override. Oh, because I was in the other one.
Yeah.
Just got to remember shift, control, up and down, shift. Okay. Perfect. Well, with that, we're almost at time. So I'll let you, Mr. Artley, wrap this up.
Yeah, I mean, we deviated a little bit from our exhibits today. We did show spaces. We did do some space planning. We were maybe going to do, take one of those spaces and break it out into a title block, but that's pretty straightforward. Maybe we'll cover that coming up. Speaking of coming up, let me go take a look at our magical little list because we do have topics already configured. So next week is going to be what's new in Bluebeam. So we're going to sort of go through the Wayback Machine and talk about some of the enhancements from, where things have come overall, and then maybe do a little foreshadowing. And then on October, holy cow, October's coming up here, October 1st, we're going to answer the age-old question, can Bluebeam do BIM? So that one will be fun to talk about.
Actually, I will tell you, at Bluebeam Live, they were saying how they know people use it as CAD, and they want to enhance that. Can you believe that? Because remember, we're always like, it's not technically a design tool, but you can design in it. Mm-hmm. But they want it to be intended to also be able to do most of those things. Not like Revit from a perspective of 3D, but being able to conceptually design. Yeah. Anyways, sorry, deviated.
Yeah. Matt, we've talked to customers who do their full CDs in Bluebeam Revu.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It's crazy.
Hold up. But, not exactly BIM, but, pretty wild all the same.
Yes. And then we'll get the GoCanvas team as soon as things are finalized on that end, right on here, to demo, have a conversation, probably more of have a conversation versus demo first. And then if people are interested, we can have them back on, but someone else to do the demo. Because the person that we're going to be having on would be more of the conversation. We can ask pinpointed questions about project roadmap and stuff like that. So perfect. Alrighty. With that, thanks everyone for joining us today on this episode of event planning and going through and understanding how we can do some space planning for some layouts. Next week, as Jason said, we have some predefined items, and we'll have the GoCanvas team on as soon as everything is finalized from that end, and then they will be able to jump on and we can have a conversation about that. But as always, we truly appreciate every single one of you tuning in and joining us regularly, or if you're new, and if you're watching this on YouTube, appreciate every single one of you on there as well. If you do have any questions, feel free to comment or reach out to Jason and myself. And until next time, we'll see you all next week. Anything else, Jason?
That's it. We'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of the other content on our channel.